Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Some of you have been asking for a review of the custom Imperial AT-TE walker that we've seen in a couple of live streams and Raxus episodes up until this point now. I wanted to take today's video, go through, review it, the build process, everything behind it. If you guys are excited, drop a like down below. Make sure you also subscribe, don't miss any videos coming up. But a little quick backstory about this. This is actually the Brickvault model. It's the one available on brickvault.toys, designed by Dave's Customs over on Instagram. It is by far my favorite AT-TE model. Now, I actually built two of them in the Republic colorway, so basically it's this but also dark red. Back in 2020 when I built my Raxus mock from the Clone Wars Season 8, it was a freaking awesome mock and I loved building these models. They were amazing. But obviously for Raxus, now Raxus is different. Raxus is during the early Empire, so of course we had to sort of change up the colors a little bit, and I think the last review that I did of the AT-TE Clone Wars version was over 2 years ago. So now we're going to be diving on into this huge model, giving you guys the rundown, all the information. If you guys do have any questions, drop them down below. I'll answer them down below in the comments if there's anything that I forget to get to in today's video. Let's go ahead and start off with some very basic facts about the AT-TE in terms of the Lego build. You could purchase the instructions over on brickvault.toys. Now, I believe it's estimated anywhere between $400 to $500 is where you should be looking at to buy the parts. You could basically get an XML file which gives you a parts list for the entire walker, and then you can upload that to BrickLink, and that's exactly what I did. Now for me personally, it cost about $450 after shipping to buy all the parts. I think before shipping it was around $390, and then obviously after I think shipping 10-12 orders it went up another $60 or $70. So it is an expensive model, but when you compare this to the actual Lego set versions, it's really incomparable. Now you guys might be able to see the minifigure up top here, but just to give you guys a sense of scale, this is essentially a minifigure scale AT-TE walker. It might be slightly smaller than what you would expect, but as far as Lego goes, as far as the limitations of the Lego brick, this is pretty much a one-for-one model, so it's pretty perfect. So the only thing that we did different really for this AT-TE is we basically changed all the dark red for different variants of gray, which is why you don't see dark red on this model. Again, it's an early Empire model. They recolor it to gray. You could see that in the Bad Batch Season 1 when they are on Raxus, which is pretty cool. So in terms of the actual color swapping, it's really easy, and if you're building along with the instructions, just basically in your head, whenever you get to a dark red step, just switch it for gray, and it's super simple. But first, let's talk about the legs. Now there are 3 legs on each side of the walker, so 6 in total. In the middle here we have these sort of larger, bulkier legs. These definitely hold up the majority of the weight, and then right here on the sides and the corners we have 4 smaller ones. Now again, the middle leg is the one that's holding the majority of the weight, and the middle is actually surprisingly heavy. It's a pretty large area of different pieces, mostly Technic pins, and then larger bricks and slopes, so that middle compartment does get pretty heavy. One quick downside of the model that I've noticed is actually as you have it displayed, the joints will obviously get a little bit weighed down. So right here it's standing almost perfectly, but the other 2 models that I've had for over 2 years, they do slump down quite a bit, so I feel comfortable putting like transparent bricks under it just to give it a little bit of extra stability. Now, is that something avoidable? I don't necessarily think so. I just think when you're dealing with such a heavy model and you're only having to work with 3 sets of legs, it gets a little tricky, but that's just to keep you guys in mind. Now the legs are connected to various joints. In the front here we basically have 2 different ball joints connecting the legs. On the back here we have a ball joint and then an axle piece as well, and in the middle here it's a variety of the 2. And again, the middle is the biggest one, it's the beefier one, it's what's holding up the weight. But as you can see here, it stands very tall. You can most likely fit a minifigure underneath it, which is obviously pretty good, pretty accurate to what it's actually scaled to in the show, which is nice. All the feet are very, very similar. A lot of them use different pieces such as clips, such as cheese slopes, just to give it a little extra detail. And you can see here the mechanisms for connecting all the legs and stuff like that. But overall, the leg builds are super simple, they're super easy, and they do work fairly well, and they look good. Now the coolest part about this AT-TE, obviously other than its just sheer scale and awesomeness, is the panels. Now on the top here we have 2 panels, one in the front right behind the cockpit. This does hold the main cannon, and then one in the back which does hold the 2 secondary cannons on the back. Now both of these can be completely removed, which is super simple. They're not connected by anything. It's basically just gravity and finding bricks that kind of slide into each other. Now as far as the panels go, first off we'll talk about this first one. You can see here there's basically 3 different sections. We have the sort of middle larger base plate, and then on the sides here we have some wedge plates which help to achieve that sort of shape that we recognize with AT-TE with. And on the front here we have this really sweet looking cannon. It's very perfectly minifigure scale. There's a nice area where you could put the minifigure who is manning the cannon, and it also does swivel in 360 and go up and down quite considerably. So the movement and the range of movements on this is pretty cool. And then then if you want to put it back on, it's super simple. You basically just lift the gun up a little bit, you slide it in very, very easy, and then it'll connect. That's it. You want to push down the angle wedges a little bit just to make it look good, and then you're pretty much done. Now, the back section only basically has two different parts. They're connected by hinges right in the middle and different types of clips. Again, very good detail. Both of these panels have different types of modified plates and tiles and wedges and stuff, so it does look super clean, which is always a huge bonus. And then likewise, you just want to sort of put it, find the grooves, and you can find that right on the back section. Nice and easy. There you go. But while these actually should be off, let's talk about the interior. Interior is, I think, where this AT-TE shines. A lot of models I've seen look fantastic from the outside, but don't have anything inside. That is not the case with this AT-TE. First of all, in terms of total minifigures you could fit, I counted 2 in the cockpit, 4 in the gunners, and 12 in the seats. That brings us to a total of 18 minifigures. Now, if you wanted to squeeze a little bit more, you could probably fit anywhere between 20 to 23. I did put one more officer right in the back here, but that's pretty much it. Now, in terms of detail, there are some pretty cool things. All the seats are made of sand blue pieces, so it does offer really, really nice contrast with the larger majority of gray pieces. And then you can even see here for the gunner seats, there are these sort of 2 different hinge pieces together connected by clips, so it kind of contours to the natural curve of the human body, or Lego minifigure body, I guess you could say, which is a really nice touch. Now, in the middle here, we have, again, that section, that big, bulky, heavy section that stands up the walker, but you can actually sort of imagine there's a doorway, because I believe in canon you can actually walk between both compartments. Obviously it's not really possible in a Lego version, but there are some cool details. There's a little 2x2 printed round tile right there just to give the illusion that I believe the door opens and stuff, so that's pretty cool. There's also some transparent pieces on the top. There's plenty of area for more minifigures, as you guys can see here. Again, you could probably fit anywhere around 25 if you really wanted to cram it in, but for the sake of today's video, I want to show you what exactly is supposed to fit. Now, moving on to the side panels here, another really cool detail is on each of them. So there's 4 different panels on the sides. There is a door that completely opens very freely. You just basically push it open a little bit and it comes out, touches the ground, which is really cool. And it also uses some of the 1x2 hinge pieces to simulate the sort of rungs on a ladder, which looks so cool. So you have that on all 4 of them. It blends in seamlessly with the rest of the walker. As you can see, when it's opened, obviously it's obvious it's there, but when it's closed, you really can't tell, and it just looks like another cool detail. So I'll go ahead and put these panels back on here. And I think the last couple of things I want to talk about are mainly in the front of the walker. So first things first, the cockpit actually comes out very, very easy as well. You basically just have to grip it a little bit and then pull, and it slides out just like this. There are some of the 1x2 modified plates, so it slides in really easily. There's enough room to fit 2 of them here. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to mention this, but there's supposed to be a 1x2 cheese slope that has like the computer screen, not only in the cockpit, but in also the 4 gunner sections inside. Unfortunately, I just didn't have these pieces, but imagine they're there, I guess, for the sake of the video. But it comfortably fits 2 minifigures, which is pretty accurate. You also see front of it has some really nice greeble detail with a bunch of really cool, unique parts, which gives it a really nice level of complexity. And then you could also see here there are some of the 2x4 height, I believe, or some of the 2x4 height glass pane windows in like this sort of darker transparent, which is nice color. And again, it slides in super easy. And then on the front here, the last thing, we do have 4 more of those secondary turrets. So basically, in terms of weaponry and armament, you have the main cannon up top, and then you have about 6 secondary turrets, as well as everything that fits inside. So that has been my review of the custom Imperial AT-TE walker. Again, the base model is the Brickvault version. We just recolored it. It's super simple to do. And in my opinion, the Imperial colorway, the light bluish gray, the dark bluish gray, and other kind of neutral colors is the coolest, and I think this is my superior version of the AT-TE, but the Republic version is super cool. Of course, it's iconic from the Clone Wars. So if you guys want to go ahead and purchase the instructions, I urge you to go check out Brickvault. They are not for sale anywhere else, so Brickvault's the only place you can get it. Again, you do get a parts list and everything like that, and if you want to go ahead and build the Imperial version, just swap out any dark red for grays, and you should be fine. I want to see you guys build this. If you guys ever do build this yourself, tag me on Instagram, let me know. I want to see you guys building your own Imperial early Empire army, which is super cool because you get the Imperial colors, but you also still get to use the iconic Phase 2 clones. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.